Hi there, Tamara Carroll, the Joy Queen and your creativity coach. I get a lot of questions with people asking me, how do you come up with these paintings and how do you know what to paint? So I want to take a few minutes and just share what my process looks like. Many times when I'm asked to paint at a conference or teach at an organization or offer my own classes or even the personal prophetic paintings, the Lord just really downloads to me. And so what that looks like is that I'll take some time and spend the time with the Lord, worshiping Him, journaling, writing, and I just start asking the Lord, what do you want to bring? What do you want to show through the worship? And there's really nothing like it, being able to be live in worship and be soul to soul with the worship team and listening to the Lord. And it's just an amazing experience to be able to connect with Him through the paint and with their creativity. So let me just show you a couple of paintings that I recently painted at the Christian International Conference with featuring Bishop Bill Hamon. And it was so fun, you guys. I just had a blast. It was so very fun. So the first night, as I started praying into the conference, and usually if I know that I'm painting at a conference or painting at church during worship, I'll start praying into it like a week ahead of time and asking the Lord, what do you want to show? What beauty, what do you want to bring? And sometimes I'll sketch it out, or sometimes I see it in a vision. He'll give me a vision. I'll share one of those with you in just a few minutes. And sometimes it's in a dream even. And so this particular one that I'm going to show you was the first night that I painted. And he started speaking to me in a dream, and he was telling me to release the keys of heaven. So this painting, let me see if I can bring it a little closer to you. Do you see all the keys? And there's clocks and roses and numbers. So a lot of this just kind of happened as I was painting. But what the Lord was saying to me that particular night before was to release the keys of heaven, to help them have a visual impact of receiving, of taking the keys, of just taking our authority that we have as believers, that we have as sons and daughters of the King, and taking into that authority. So the swirly part for me was Holy Spirit. And so he was just showing me the wind and the breath of God, okay? And that actually came from someone else that saw my painting later, and they told me, gosh, I just see the breath of God on that. And so I gotta tell you another really cool story. So right before I was painting and I was praying into the painting, I had my hands on the canvas, and I was so deep in the Spirit that I saw in a vision Jesus coming so close to me that we became one. And as I put my hand on the canvas and started praying over it before I started, I felt and I saw in my spirit, remember this all is in our spirit and in our prayer, I saw him and his hands became mine. And so I knew that I was going to be painting with Jesus and that he was going to be that close, that we were just going to be one and co-creating together. And so later on, after I painted this, I had it out in the lobby, and this young man came up to me with his family, and they were Spanish speaking, and they were really marveling about the painting. And I had asked him, what are you saying? Can you explain to me what everybody is saying? And he explained that he was a seer in the Spirit, and that when I stepped up to paint, he didn't see me. He saw a white robe and my back, and I had my paint clothes on. I had my pink shirt and my black pants, and he says, you weren't wearing pants, there was somebody that had a white robe, and when you laid your hand on that canvas, it wasn't your hand. And I was just like, wow, that is so cool, and that is so amazing. And I said, that was Jesus. So I don't know. I believe in the supernatural. I believe in visions and dreams, and certainly co-creating with God, with every part of God, Jesus and Holy Spirit and our Abba Father. So that is just the coolest story for me. And so some of the other symbolism that's in this painting, the numbers, the Lord was speaking to me that this was symbolic of our days are numbered. And he's also a God of order and not chaos. So the numbers and the strategies that he gives us when we receive the keys to the kingdom, when we fully understand our authority that we have in him. And then the clock, there were 3 clocks, so that's symbolic with the 3, with the Trinity. And he was saying the time is now. And the keys, I believe there is 5 keys. So 5 means grace. So just that he gives us grace. Thank goodness, right? So this, and then the flowers on there. The Lord was just saying, this is my kiss to you. And he gave me flowers for co-creating with him. And if you'll notice, there's a lot of different color. At the time when I was painting that with my hands, it was very much about the incense of the praise and the incense of the prayers going up to the throne room. And I've had people come up to me later on and tell me that they saw angelic beings in the painting. So that's the really cool thing about prophetic art, is that, you know, what you think it is, other people are going to see more, and it just continues to grow and just to speak of God's power. So that one is super cool. This one is an 18 by 40, I think. And it is for sale for $150, and I do have prints available of it. So if you're interested in that one, let me know. So I'm going to take this down and put up another one, and I'll tell you about that one in a minute. So another part of my process is, I told you sometimes when I'm praying really deeply with the Lord, he'll give me a vision. And so this one particular time, a lot of times when I go to my secret place with Jesus, we go to the beach. And in my mind, you know, I go to the beach and I hang out with him, and I dance and I sing, and we dance together, and I confess to him, and it's just a loving, loving place that I go to with him. So on this one particular day that I was praying, we were standing and looking at the horizon, and Jesus is beside me, and he points up and he says, look up in the sky. And when I looked up over the horizon, the heaven opened, and this most beautiful blue came flowing out. It was just remarkable. And as I'm gasping from the blue that is coming towards me, and anytime I paint blue, you guys, it's always Jesus. It symbolizes Jesus to me. So this beautiful, beautiful, intense blue is coming out upon me. And then all these doves started coming out. And they're just coming, and they're just landing on me. And I remember laughing and just feeling such joy. And so I thought that was just for me, right? Isn't that the way it always is? We think it's just for us. But the Lord said, you're going to release wisdom from heaven. And as I started praying into it, now my sketching is really bad. So I don't know if you can see it, but this was the blue that was coming out, and then the doves that was coming. And then he said, put pearls inside it, and have the doves carry the pearls of wisdom. And so this is just really what my sketches look like. So it kind of gave me a visual for, okay, Lord, I know what we're going to do. And so I finger painted. I did kind of like some speckling with just like a wadded up paper towel that I use a lot, and I'll put it in paint and just do some background color. So one day, and actually the morning that I was getting ready, he said, take a picture of this rug that's in your house, and those are the colors I want you to use. So I followed the color scheme that was in the rug. It were kind of like beachy colors, you know, the sand and the greenish tones and the turquoise. And so I did that, and then I brought the blue part in, and the doves that I painted, and the pearls. I put the pearls in with little Q-tips. and little Q-tip dabs. And it was the prettiest painting. I wish I had it here to show it to you. I'm so thankful though that it did sell at the conference. So I don't have the original anymore, but I do have prints available, and you can find that on the information. I'm not sure if it's up above or down below, but you can order prints from that one. So that was releasing heavenly wisdom. And that particular day that I was painting at that conference, on that day was the day that they were breaking up into small groups and giving prophetic words to each other. So that was really cool. I love that. I mean, God just totally orchestrates it all, and he knows what is needed and when it's needed. So that was really awesome. The other one that I painted, this one is called Releasing Heavenly Oil. I'm going to bring it forward for you. So this one is on a 16 by 20. You see the glitter. I don't know if you can see the shiny. Yeah, it's so pretty. And as I was painting the oil lamp, the Holy Spirit really impressed on me. Whenever I do the orange and the yellow and the red, it's very much about the Holy Spirit fire. And the oil is filled with his color. And then there's oil that is dripping down. Do you see the release of the oil? It's a beautiful painting, you guys. This one is a 16 by 20. And I believe this one is priced at $100. So it's super pretty. I like it a lot. And it reminds me a lot of, you know, the story in the Bible about the 10 virgins who he instructs them to be ready and to have their oil in their lamps to be ready for his return. So this one is super pretty. I prepped this in the background before. He told me to get my watercolors and pre-prep it. And I saw a lot of angelic beings even in the painting before I even started it. So this one is called Releasing the Oil from Heaven. Okay, let me see if I can get my big one up here. One so much. I love them all, really. I mean, it's such a creative expression, being able to paint with the Holy Spirit. And as I started painting and learning how to hear him more clearly through the paint and through the whole experience, he tells me what colors to dip and what tools to use. I use some crazy tools. He has me go to the store and buy makeup brushes, and I bought, one day I was at CVS and he said, we're gonna go down this row and you're gonna buy a brush that has a green handle on it. And I'm like, there's no brushes down here. I must be hearing you wrong. But I just kept following, and soon enough, I'm in the cleaning department, you know, like the household cleaning department. And he leads me right to, and I'm like, there's no brushes here. What am I doing? What am I hearing? And then I looked a little closer, and there was a green handled, like a dish brush that had like real spiky bristles on it. And so he teaches me how to use these tools in the craziest way, and just beauty comes out. So like I said, I don't have any formal training. I have done some paint and sips. I've done some mixed media art classes, but truly I am fully trained and equipped by the Holy Spirit, and I love that so much. And it's a very fun and creative way to be able to hear him deeper. Even when I do the personal prophetic paintings, you know, there's just so much that he releases for people, but that video will be for another day. Perhaps I'll do that for next month. So this one is called Releasing the Sounds of Heaven. And whenever I paint at a conference, or if I'm going to an event like David's Tent or somewhere that's outside of my own circle, actually I shouldn't say that, I have painted one for the church. I like to paint an open heaven that is symbolic of that house. And so I went into this conference thinking that I was going to be painting an open heaven. And an open heaven to me just means, I don't know, it kind of feels like kind of Christianese, but it's just a place of favor, you know, where our worship goes up and our praise goes up and his favor comes down. And it's just I don't know how to say it. You've probably experienced it before when you just feel his presence so strong and you feel like you have the authority and that you're walking and you're doing everything that's in his will. So that's the way I kind of feel like an open heaven, what that kind of feels like. So this particular night, I kept feeling like the Lord was saying to me, I want you to release the sounds of heaven. And I kept saying, well, I kind of wanted to do an open heaven. You know how you kind of go back and forth with God, which is kind of crazy, right? So I said yes, of course. And I had this big canvas. And so he tells me whether I should prep it, paint it black, leave it white, put watercolor, you know, whatever that looks like. I feel it in my spirit. I hear him in my spirit. And so I'm making notes, and I came with a black canvas. And this particular evening, I had the great opportunity of painting with some very dear friends of mine that I know from Awaken the Dawn. There were two families and another family that I didn't know on their team. And I had the opportunity of painting with my very dear friends from Awaken the Dawn. And so that was really wonderful to me because I felt like I was really heart to heart with people that I already knew and loved. And the whole sanctuary was so bathed in so much worship from this conference. So this was the last night, and Bishop Hamon was speaking that night. And he gets up there and, well, first we were doing worship, and I wish I would have taken a picture of it the first time because it was way different than it is now. But this is still what was in there. So this is the sound waves. And I had told my friend Anna Mix, I said, I'm going to be painting the sounds that you're releasing. And she got chills and I got chills, and it was just really cool. So, you know, as her tone went up, the sound wave that I painted went up, and the painting really evolved. When it first started, it had blues, and you could see some of the blue here and the red, and there were just fiery colors with the sound wave. And then after worship, the Bishop Hamon came up, and he, get this, you guys, he says, I'm going to teach you about open heavens. And I was like, So yeah. And so it was a congregational thing that had to do with sound. And he was doing a Bible teaching about, you know, how they used to storm the walls and they would make a sound for the walls to come down. And so while all this was happening, he invited the worship team back up again, and my friends are singing, and I was right by the drums with my friend John, and I usually face the worship team so the people behind me can see the art. And so I don't see anybody around me. And it's truly just me and Jesus and the music. It's good stuff. So the music was like it was very spontaneous kind of worship. And the people in the congregation were praising God and using their voice and just going after it. And so as I started painting now, this part, you'll see that there's musical notes in there, and that was there in the beginning, the first layer of it. The Lord started speaking to me about gold coins, and so I was using a little punch tab thing, and I was making gold coins, and that was really symbolic for the abundance that the Lord wants to bring upon us. And here in California, gold is very significant. So having the abundance, you know, coming in, coming down, raining down from us to us. And then in here, there's some more gold coins. And this was also sound of the people in the congregation. And he had me start adding just different colors. A lot of times I'll put these angelic beings, and he had told me to use green, and I'm not a big green fan. So I was like, as I was painting, I was like, green. And he said, yes, green. And so I'm making these angelic beings with the green while he's speaking to my spirit about growth and life and everlasting life. And, you know, just all of those things, fresh new, all of those kind of things. So, and then the colors of the sound waves also started to change. If you look, you kind of have to look close up. This painting is beautiful. It is beautiful. And I believe, I don't remember the size off the top of my head. I think it was 26 by 30. I couldn't be sure. But I do have it for sale. And it would make a beautiful gift for someone who loves worship. It would make a beautiful gift for a worship leader. It would make a beautiful gift to be in your church. It was painted in Sacramento, California. And I'm really attached to it. I think it's really beautiful. Part of me says I don't even want to sell it, but I know that it belongs to someone special. So this particular painting is $350, and I also have prints available of it. So that's it, you guys. This one was called Releasing the Sounds of Heaven. And I hope you kind of got a visual for what it entails when I'm painting, what the experience is. One of the worship leaders told me, he says, wow, because he could see my face, and one of my friends, Nick, he was like, wow, you're really intense when you paint. But I think and he says, and you're laughing too, but it's really intense. So, it's just feeling all that emotion and being able to connect with God. And so that is something that I offer. I don't want to leave before telling you that. I offer classes on how to connect to God through the creativity, through the paint. I primarily use paint, but if you're creative in other ways, you could do jewelry, you could do poetry, you could use dancing. I mean, there's, even in your business, even in your relationships, there's creativity. But I do offer classes. I do have an online class that is coming up in April. It's only $25. This is a one-time deal because I'm just now introducing my online classes. It's called From Ashes to Beauty. And so we'll be painting, and I'll be helping you discover and release. The Lord told me to teach and release, so that's my mandate for this year. And so just to teach you how to hear God more intimately, and I'll be leading you through some activities. It'll be a 3-hour class online, and I'll send you a list of supplies. And that one's a really great deal for $25. So be sure and get registered for that one. If you have any questions, let me know. I also travel and do classes. I offer classes in my home, and I'll come to you within a certain range, and I have different travel things if I'm going outside of my area. But that's something we can discuss in person. So anyway, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. You can reach me at hello@tamaracarroll.com. And all my information is down below. If you're interested in prints, be sure and let me know. I'd love to be able to order those for you. And if you'd like any of my original art, of course, it would be my pleasure to have it hanging in your home and know that it's going to someone who's going to love and appreciate it. So that's it. I'm gonna go now, and I just want to wish you all blessings of joy, and let's get connected, and let me help you get connected to the heart of God through the creativity. All right, well, Tamara Carroll, the Joy Queen, and your creativity coach. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.